So
Ben, confirming you can see the slide.
technically I can't at the moment, but that's my own fault.
Okay.
1 second. I can
It's
fix that.
shared in the Zoom, so I'm sure it's when you're there, it'll be there.
It's a matter. I just didn't tab correctly. Okay, I can see it now, and it's up on the screen, sort of.
Moving my screens around.
Okay, now it should be on the screen. Okay, so that's there. It should be streaming on YouTube. Let me get a YouTube link.
If you don't mind, throw that in Slack for me, man, because I'm using that on a different machine. I just want to take a look. I'll run it while we're in social mode before we get to.
Now, is this big screen? Is it an Android app?
No, it's a it's on the Oculus store, the Steam store, and probably the Rift. Rift, I guess, is Steam. So
Commodore 64.
Or not Rift, the other one.
Okay.
But no, it's not an Android app.
Sorry, Commodore 128.
Commodore PET.
Yes.
So I'm trying Edge now. I'm feeling a little edgy. It's actually the new Edge is actually a pretty decent browser.
I actually don't mind it.
I never thought I'd say it, but Microsoft did something right.
Whoa.
Right?
Right.
Hey, props to Microsoft for the whole build coupon. Did you guys all get that? Did anybody go to build? Can you guys hear me?
Can hear you.
Did you get that? So build 2020 was like what, last week or the week before?
As a marketer, I'm not going to get that, but all you devs, you should.
It was so nice. Like
that's cool.
Like what was it? Oh, just Xbox Gold, like 2 years for $50.
Dang.
All sorts of deals in there.
Nice. Yeah, I got a pleasant surprise when I modified my Nest subscription, my Google Nest subscription, to the new one that you don't have a camera limit. My cost went down. I got a refund, and they said, "Hey, thanks for subscribing to Nest," and they're sending me like one of their little screen, what do they call it? Basically the little interface for it. So
wow.
I already have one, but they're sending another one for nothing. Pretty.
Hey Ben, where do I put your code in? Are we ready for the code?
Yeah, I gave you the code. I don't 100% know where to put it in because I'm usually just the host. I believe if you open up the menu, which is, are you using a Rift or a Vive?
I'm in a Rift S. Yep, I'm in the menu.
Good. Okay, so from the My Room tab, if you go to the About My Room, is there like a social pane on the right?
No. I didn't make I made an account.
I think that's fine. Oh man, I haven't
About room. I got About My Room. There's nothing on the right of that.
Well, let me
environments, monitors.
Let me stop My Room. Maybe I can find the. It's weird. I've never. So there's hosting.
I see the virtual room on YouTube.
I'm logged in.
Like the headgear.
Events and movies.
Yeah, so if you look at the YouTube video that I just pushed to the Slack group.
Yeah. I'm not in the Slack group, I'm sorry.
Or sorry, not Slack group, the Zoom thing.
Oh, okay.
What I had it like 2 seconds ago. What the heck?
Oops.
Oops.
This is like the one
I know,
thing
right? Well, so now I have this 12-foot screen, right? And my mouse is my finger. So I'm trying to click on chat. Oh, and it's so hard to read.
Yeah, this is the one thing I didn't actually look into before this.
All right, I'm gonna go over to my monitor and try to read that thing.
Well, it's not there anymore. I don't know how I had it for like 2 seconds.
The Roomba's out doing its work. That's good.
Yep. Oh, here we go. It's the overview tab, I think. Yep. So on the bottom, go to the overview tab, and then on the right, there's a join room ID. But I closed the room, so the ID code has changed. So let me go get a new one.
I would like everybody that is wearing the VR headsets to make sure that their camera is also on for the Zoom meeting.
Meow.
Whose cat was that? Was that mine? Or...
Oh, I can hear again. I can hear again. It's amazing.
Woohoo!
All right, so I'm halfway there. Now I got to get this room code and get into this thing. I got it. And
There's a new room code coming, Dennis. So.
Oh,
okay.
no, actually, it's the same code.
Oh, is it?
Okay,
Turns
good. I will try to. Okay, I'm gonna stop I'll keep this on, so I'll entertain Rick by looking like a fool with the big VR headset on my face.
That's what I'm saying. I want everyone's got anyone wearing a VR headset has to have their Zoom camera on.
Yeah, so they look stupid while they're talking.
Okay, I could bring. Well, I'm like in a room. I have a 10 by 10 room I'm in.
Yeah, well, it's okay. You can do the blur thing if you're really, you got a big.
Well, no, I mean, my PC, the PC literally isn't in this room.
Oh, okay, cool.
But I could get out my laptop and then, all right, I'll do it just for you guys.
Okay, I'm going in.
Ben, I see.
But where do I put the code? Do you know where to put the code? Oh, he took the headset off.
Oh, I told you. So you have to go to at the bottom where it says like my room overview avatar settings.
Yep.
Go to overview. And then on the right hand side, there's a flap that says public rooms. And then at the bottom is join room ID.
Got you. And that's the code. Got it. Thank you.
Ben, it's hilarious watching a little avatar work away. I'm very entertained by this. Yeah, metadata.
Yeah, boy.
Certified.
Hey, there we are. Woo!
Where the hell am I?
All right.
Hello.
Hello, peoples.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, we have 2 people in the room.
Oh, we do.
So you can move around by holding the stick in, I guess, and then a whole bunch of little diamonds will pop up.
Okay.
Nice.
Oh. That's too fun. You're a solo fire, Ben? Is that you?
Yep.
Cool. Oh, I can okay. So I'll just sit here. That's too cool. All right, I'm in.
Oh, nice. I'm partway there now.
Canada Chris, is that you?
It's not a Canada Chris virtual. It's not a simulation.
All right, Chris, I'm gonna get you back. How about this one? How you like that, Chris? You're on mute.
I remember that. Yeah, that was funny. Well, the best one was the coffee maker.
Yeah, the coffee maker.
Maker? Yeah. And then Steven went in to get a coffee and he couldn't stop laughing.
I don't think he laughed at all.
Oh, he was laughing. Someone showed me a video of him laughing coming.
How are things up in Canada today?
Hey.
Warm. Well, it's warm today, so.
It's so summer today, very hot.
Very hot?
Yeah.
What's the temp?
35 degrees, feels like.
Oh man, so it's
Yes,
hot
yes.
as Atlanta.
Yeah, it's just up and down, you know. One day, like yesterday, we had a big thunderstorm.
Yeah,
It
there was
was
like
nice.
tornado warnings yesterday. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't
And
get
where
them.
I
is
see the
it?
continuous lightning.
Where
Oh,
did you
yeah.
say I was joining again? Why is my shit jumping all over the place, man? Oh my god. I gotta
Dennis,
recalibrate my
language.
room. Sorry.
Such language,
Sorry.
Dennis.
Sorry. Sorry. Chris, Rick, I'm awful. I'm a vile man, very vile. But
So,
I'm going to recalibrate my room. I'll be right back.
Recalibrating.
So, for those who just joined, the YouTube link is in Zoom. If you're on Zoom, which you clearly are if you're hearing me, you're going to want to mute the YouTube video, otherwise you're going to be hearing double of everything.
So when you say on Zoom chat,
Yep.
I don't see anything on the chat.
Oh, might have to repost it for people who joined. I thought it just kept history.
Yeah.
There.
Maybe you
Now
want to
it's-
put it on the meetup, Ben.
I could do that. Actually, would you mind adding it to there?
Sure, I'll do that. Yeah.
Tied up a bit.
And wouldn't it be correct that whatever video source they're watching, they should mute the opposite? Like if they're watching YouTube, they should mute Zoom. If they're watching Zoom, they should mute YouTube.
Nope. No, if they're in Zoom, they should be using the Zoom audio and just mute YouTube.
Right.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, YouTube is just for people who aren't or who want to watch what's going on in VR,
Right.
or aren't on Zoom. Okay.
For people to
I
start
thought we were gonna
walking
have
around
to-
and shaking virtual hands. And
You can high five and you can throw tomatoes.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, there's one. There it is.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah, you can throw tomatoes, but you can't throw chocolate milk.
That's not 100% true. You can throw soda
Oh, what is that?
Oh, okay. Well, that works.
and popcorn.
So I love too. For whoever else is in here, but you can
Oh,
have
that's
your
just
own
better.
monitor up. I love this, Ben. My monitor is here on the table, and then I'm in front of the big screen, so I still have access to the Zoom desktop and my PC.
Yep.
In the room, it's crazy.
Hey Ben, where do I join? Is it in my room? I forgot. It's not in my room in the menu, was
Nope.
it?
Mo.
It's under overview.
Overview. That's right.
then on the
there
far
we
right.
go. Thank you, sir. Join room.
You want me to repost the code?
No, I've got it. I can paste it in from my.
Yeah, where's
desktop
the?
menu.
I think I missed the virtual room information.
Okay, I just posted it back in the Zoom chat. If you are in a VR headset, you're gonna open up big screen.
No. Okay, so what is this?
Hey, Mo.
What's up, guys?
Hey, Ray.
What's up, Nabil? How you doing, man?
Very good, man. Good to see you.
Thanks, brother. You too.
Ah, there's Dennis. Are you wearing
Hey.
a Viking hat?
I thought so, wasn't I? I forgot what my avatar looked like right now.
Actually, right now I can't see anything except for your headset. It's weird.
Oh yeah?
But you did push. Is that Dave?
Oh
mean,
yeah.
Do I not
Dave?
have hands? I got hands, right?
I see your hands and the no, that's Dave's hands. You somehow
Okay.
pushed Dave out of his chair when you joined.
Am I sitting
Oh,
inside
thanks.
of Dave? Is that really weird? Am I in Dave? Am I okay?
I
Where's
don't
Dave?
see you. I just see your headset. It's weird. Try
That is
clicking on
strange.
your avatar button to see if that fixes it
Okay.
in the menu.
Ben, where do I drop this code, this password or code or whatever?
overview.
So yeah, if you
Oh,
open
yeah.
the menu in big screen.
Hey, guys, I need to fix this. There's a. Oh my.
What?
What's up?
Huh?
What's the matter, Nabil?
Hey, what's up, man?
I'm hearing everybody twice.
You gotta mute YouTube.
Yeah.
I did. Oh, so it's just me? Okay,
It's
maybe
just
I have
you.
something wrong in my audio. Sorry.
Okay, so if you want to join to this or connect to this room, open up the menu in big screen. At the bottom, there's a bunch of tabs like My Room, Overview, Avatar. You're gonna click on Overview, and then when that opens up on the right-hand flap, there's a list of public rooms, but at the bottom is a Join Room ID, and that's when you're gonna enter that the code that I put in chat.
This is Dave. I'll be right back.
Dennis, I can only still see your headset. Did you try clicking on Avatar?
Yeah, I'm in Avatar, and I did the settings. I'm going back to Overview. Now I'm doing Avatar. I'm going to randomize Avatar and see what happens. Oh, look, that's a cool-looking guy. I think I'm just going to, let me see what happens if I move. I'm going to move over here, see what happens. Did I look any different?
Nope, just a
I
headset.
can't even see my. That's really weird. Okay, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna come back.
Do you have your wands in your hand?
Yeah. I've got my. I can see my hands.
Weird. Can't see your.
Yeah.
Although I can't see Dave's anymore though.
That's weird.
Well,
Okay.
he took off his.
Virtual world was messed up.
Nabil sounds like he's protesting.
You've got that up close megaphone sound going on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so put it away a bit.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yes.
No, it's
Okay, I will be back.
A little better.
I'm gonna leave the room. I'm gonna quick bid screen. I'm gonna come back in.
You have someone sitting there. You have someone sitting there. Someone's. Yeah. Well, I'll probably put on the Tech Guilds ones. Let's see. There's two people there.
Was that Chris?
Huh?
Sorry, what was that?
Oh, I just looking at how cool it is. I was looking at the YouTube video and then watching everybody there, and I'm installing the Steam. I'm gonna try and use the Tech Guilds glasses, those ones that you gave me. See if those.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if that'll work because those are only AR, right? Or
Yeah,
they?
those are
headset.
Those are VR, but those are like a pocket VR goggles you mount on your phone.
Yeah. I don't
know if this is gonna work.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need the big screen VR, I guess. That's an app you can you need to launch on like a goggle, like a Oculus or something.
Yeah, so I don't know if it'll work for me.
All right, Ben, settle down with those tomatoes. You're making a mess.
Is it just getting to the tomatoes?
On YouTube, it did.
Are you sure you're live?
Oh.
Yep.
Oh wow, because that was minutes ago.
There is a big gap. There's a delay.
Yeah.
Oh wow, we knew there was a delay. We were testing it yesterday, but it wasn't like minutes. It was just like a couple seconds. Well, it's not going to matter too much for the people who are in here. It's also not going to matter too much for the people who are watching this on YouTube later. The only people it's going to make a difference for are people who are watching it on YouTube, but not in the headsets. I'm going to explain the logistics a little bit more details in a bit.
This is just the social and pizza time.
Yeah, it's just the social and pizza time. Actually, there's no pizza, unfortunately. There's tomatoes, popcorn, and soda.
Popcorn is nice.
Okay, so we're waiting for Dennis to get back. Who was the other person who was trying to connect to the room?
It's telling me failed when I try to join again, Ben. It's just saying failed to join room. Please check ID, but I think it's the same ID, of course.
Let me make sure.
Ends in an 8. CTR 8.
Yeah, 2J83 CTR8.
2J83CTR8. That's what I've got. Okay. Weird. I will be there. You guys carry on. I might have to quit my big screen and join again. I don't know. It's giving me weirdness.
Guys, I have a question about this big screen.
Yep.
Do you guys have a URL or something like that, or?
Well, are you in the game, or you have to launch it in Steam?
Steam.
Yeah.
Oh, I installed it from Oculus. It's called Big Screen Beta in Oculus.
Yeah, that's what I'm running here too.
Yeah, you don't need Steam necessarily if you have a goggle.
Well, if you're using a Vive, it's going to be in Steam.
Yeah. That's me.
So I was expecting a couple more people with headsets, though. But I figure we'll give people a couple more minutes. This is usually like the social part, so be social. Socialize.
Nice. Is there a limit to the number of people in our room? There's not, right?
12.
Or how did you set it up? You set it up to 12, and you've got how many?
That's the max.
Okay, you got 12 in there now, so that's fine. It's weird.
Here, I can restart the room just in case. This is gonna end up kicking you out, Dave.
Oh boy.
All right, here we go.
Thanks, man. Sorry, Dave.
I made it in. I'll do it again.
Yeah, I hope so.
We're in here.
Dennis, you have one of those virtual loops with a person walking behind you. I like that.
Yeah, the wife.
The wife.
Yeah. You should be able to reconnect now. Same code.
Okay, I'll try it. No, tells me check ID. What the hell?
Oh,
I'm going to type it.
You didn't know that you're 21?
I will. Maybe I have weird characters.
That was the best thing that happened to me all day. It
21.
It remembered the ID.
Oh, nice.
Oh, is it the right one though? I'm the only one in here.
No, I'm here. Actually,
Where?
I can't see you. It says you're in here, but I don't see you.
It's virtual.
Yeah, this is good.
Here, let me reload the room.
Am I sitting on you again?
I don't see you.
I'm going over to the fireplace.
Yep, I don't see you. Let me reload the room.
It's gonna be the same YouTube stream, right?
Yep.
Nabil, you're in Toronto, right?
Yes.
How's things over there?
It's pretty good. I mean, we're working from home, obviously, for the last 2.5 months.
Right.
So it's been great. I mean, yeah.
You see Dennis around, or you don't see Dennis around?
I see him virtually.
What about me?
I'm gonna restart my big screen because maybe that's the problem.
That's cool. The three of us are right above each other. We're all three from Toronto.
Yeah, Chris as well. Yeah, Chris too.
And Chris as well are in Toronto. So, yeah, Blair as well. Matt.
Ben as well. Ben also, right?
Yeah.
And Matt, yeah.
Ben now is almost a Canadian more than an American.
Yeah, but no, he's still American. We won't let him
no.
easily.
Ben's Canadian and he loves his bulk barn now, so we can't get.
Oh yeah, bulk barn's great.
What's the citizenship?
What do you get? What do you get at bulk barn? Peanut butter and stuff, or?
No, bulk barn. You get all the little snacks. Like they've got like bins of all sorts of stuff.
Right? Yeah. Spices and whey protein and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, the room code changed. I'm gonna put it in chat.
Happens.
YouTube just has a big screen icon on it.
Oh yeah, I need to restart that. Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should fix it.
Oh, there you go. I see the room.
Okay.
So it turns out my microphone was using the wrong one. Is that better now?
Much.
Oh, much
Okay.
better.
I wasn't using this, but Zoom just flipped to the laptop crappy microphone. So sorry for that.
Okay. So Dennis, Dave,
You go ahead.
see
I'm going to be
new
there
code?
soon. Yeah,
I'm
I got
typing
it.
it in.
I will get it in a second. So I recalibrated again, and this technology stuff, it's hard.
I can see you now.
Hey, there you are.
I'm in reality.
Oh wow.
What is
I'm gonna
reality?
I'm gonna reboot my room.
What is reality? That's such a deep question.
We're all a sim.
Matrix.
That's what Elon.
I had someone message me and they said I was gonna fix the world, but we wouldn't give me the source code.
Probably a good idea, man. I wouldn't trust me with the world's source code, boy. I'd be doing some stuff, I gotta tell you.
See a food fight going on YouTube.
Oh, can you see us?
Yeah.
Oh.
On YouTube.
That's cool. All right.
Right now you've got a soda can, I think, or a soda in your hand.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
And you just threw it, so I don't know how current we are.
Yeah, that's pretty close. You're not that far behind.
All right, so the lag is definitely much better.
Yeah.
You just there's no casual walking across the room. I see you just jump diamond to diamond, I'm assuming, or square to square.
Oh, that's cool. All right, watch. All right, let's see if I can do this.
Corey, did I print those heads for the coffee machine? That was your idea, but
yeah, I think you did.
Yeah,
because we did it when you were in town.
Yeah. I think I did the light switch one. You're like, no, the coffee maker or something like that. I don't remember how it came.
Chris,
that's not bad. Can you guys see that?
Yeah, that's impressive.
That's not bad.
Well, let me get the camera to focus on that. Can I?
Chin's a little off, but
somebody drawing in the room,
right? Isn't that cool?
Yep.
That was me 3D drawing with just markers.
Oh wow!
Nice.
Here, I'll show you from my angle. You'll see it in a second. Just kind of
famous Euro shot.
It's funny when you look at it from the side because you can see the curve to it. You're right. It's not really facing you, is it, Ben?
I could see. Yeah, I mean, adjustment.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, it looks a little like Bart Simpson.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, neat. Here, I'll put
yeah,
that for the stream.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Dennis, are you almost back in?
No, you go ahead, man, because it's still giving me problems to join that room. It keeps telling me I'm going to type it in manually and see if that's better, but it's giving me issues. So you just keep going, and I will sort them out. I don't want to hold stuff up.
Okay. I'm gonna pull us into the big screen area. So this was kind of a room for the social aspect, but there's actually a really cool room that has been chosen by Rick and Corey. It's called the Grand Cinema, and I need to fix the camera, of course. Oh, hello.
Oh, this is cool. Dude, I could see this being a thing. I could see 50 of us in this little thing.
That's a very dark room. I can see just a black.
Oh yeah, it reacts to the light of the whatever's on display.
It'll get brighter.
Oh, look at that.
I'm gonna go back too.
I need to fix the. Oh hey,
there we go.
There's Dennis, and he's gone.
Am I really?
Oh, there we go. We got one.
Well, you're here, but you like your avatar was here for 2 seconds, then you turned back into a headset. But that's fine.
Oh my God. Okay, well, I'll just be the floating headset for now then. You know.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. You know, I am what I am. You know,
probably get discounts at the mall.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so much more
mall
compact.
Yeah, mall.
Sorry, I don't know where that came from. 1980. Whoa, hey Ben.
What's going on here, man?
Front and center on that. Oh yeah, I see.
Sorry, I had to adjust the camera manually. I think that worked.
There you go.
Oh, that's funny. If you look up like where the projector is shooting the camera from, you can see the little dust particles floating through the projector screen.
I see you looking up.
It's funny.
Okay. So I think we're good. So a couple logistical things I need to call out. While this is going on, please no throwing tomatoes at the screen or popcorn or drinks, regardless of what you think about Corey and Rick's presentation. They're going to be respectful. Another thing, there is a pen tool or like a brush tool where you can make art. Just remember that this is recorded and this is going live and people will see this. So be on your best behavior with what you draw. Also, if there is a technical problem and the room crashes, there's going to be, if that happens, I'm going to ask Corey and Rick to just pause once while we get that reset up. If it crashes one more time, we're not going to interrupt the stream. We're just going to let them keep going, and we'll watch it on Zoom or whatever.
Thank you, Ben. Should we also record on Zoom just in case this is interrupted and we're not continuing on Zoom?
That is a fantastic idea. If you guys want to get that started.
Okay, I'll record from my side. Please request recording permission from the meeting host. Who's the meeting host?
I think it's Dennis.
Mike Reynolds.
Well, look at me.
Dennis, can you please record the session on Zoom? Or at least give me the permission to record it.
Mike, have you been at the beach?
I just went out front of the building. I got sunburn. That's it.
You should stay inside and work on that coffee table, my friend.
I still get a sunburn sitting here from the window being open.
Okay, a couple other logistical things. So you guys have probably already figured this out. You're going to be wanting to watch the presentation on Zoom if you're not in the VR world, because if you're watching the YouTube video, it's going to be delayed. If you're watching this later and you're watching the YouTube video, you're doing the right thing. And if you are in VR, you should be on this Zoom, which you already are, and we're going to be doing audio through here.
Perfect. Sorry, before you continue, Ben, Dennis, are you recording or you want to give me the permission to record from my side on Zoom? Sorry, before you continue, Ben, Dennis.
Sorry, 1 second, Nabil. I will, I'll start recording if I can, and then I'll make you an admin if I can as well, so.
It's either or, I mean, you either record or give me permission to record.
It's recording. It's recording in the cloud now.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
All right. Yeah.
Excellent. Let's get going. Sorry, Ben. Continue.
One more time, I did post the YouTube video link in this chat for anybody who's recently joined. Oh, that's your screen. No, that's my screen. Sorry.
I'm just resharing it. Did something weird.
Okay. So without further ado, well, I just want to call out, this is the Toronto user group. We're based in Toronto, Canada. Thank you all very much for attending. This is, I think, Toronto, sorry, my bad. I'm still getting used to the accent up here. Tonight we have Rick and Corey presenting. They are not virtually here, but they're not virtually really here, but they are virtually here. Their talk is Crank Up Your Sitecore Authoring and Marketing Experience. It's a very interesting talk. I've seen it once already. Not seen it on this giant movie screen, though, so that's going to be kind of fun. Dennis, Nabil, is there anything else that we should mention for this?
No, I think that's it. We're going to thank the gentleman for attending, and Ben for setting up this really groundbreaking session, and let's have some fun.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, thank you, Ben, and thank you, everybody. Let's get going.
Corey, kick us off, man.
Yeah, so thanks for having us. This is awesome. Watching the VR on my other screen, it's kind of cool. Thanks for putting this together, Ben. Really great idea. So this is a talk that Rick and I have put together that's really focused on improvements that marketers and developers can make to their Sitecore instances, whether they're launching a new Sitecore site that's just about to go live, or they've got an existing instance where they just want to spice up the marketing stuff. So what's the count on this one, Rick? Do we have 8 or 9 things that marketers can do?
I want to say 9.
Yep.
Something
So,
like that, yeah.
So 9 things that we think can really improve the experience in Sitecore for marketers, and we hope you guys find this interesting.
For Sitecore 9. If you want to see something on the big screen, Ben, here you go. Never see a stash that big.
Yeah, so I'm Corey Smith. I'm a 4-time Sitecore Technology MVP and independent consultant here in the United States. You can find me on Twitter at SiteCorey, and I'm on Sitecore Slack all times of day. And I'm really honored to be presenting with my good friend, Rick Bauer.
And that's me. And I'm a strategist. I am a marketer. You don't want me in code. You don't want me worrying about repos or anything like that. But that's why we work together. And you can also find me on Twitter and Slack and all that fun stuff. But go ahead, Corey.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of one of the things that we really enjoyed about putting this talk together is that, I mean, first and foremost, Sitecore is a platform that you have to build upon, right? And it's a marketing platform. So Sitecore is best when marketers and developers come together. And I think that the things that Rick and I are going to present today really showcase the fact that it's a lot better getting devs, getting marketers in the same room, making them all smile together and build cool things.
So let's start off with item number 1 here. This is going to be the basics, if you will, for some, maybe for some others, especially maybe marketers or somebody that are new to Sitecore. This is just really alignment, but we need to get marketing definitions because without these building blocks, your analytics won't work. You can't really do good testing. You can't do personalization, and you can't do some of the items that we're going to be showing later. You will notice, like, if you're a guitar player, a faint little image of guitar pedals behind us. This was all built when we did this originally on we built out a fictional guitar store website. So you're going to see some themes around that. But, initially what we want to do is we want to say, when it comes to the marketing definitions, again, the broken record that you're going to hear throughout this is what we think you should launch with if you're launching. This is what we think you could improve on if you are already live or you're doing an upgrade. This is, these are the things that you want to be able to do. So we're going to look at some of those definitions and talk about ways to test that.
Yeah, so one of the really great things is once you get these marketing definitions in place in your Sitecore instance, you can actually install a Sitecore module called the Experience Generator. Now, this is a module that you don't ever want to install or run in production under any circumstances whatsoever, because you'll litter up your XDB with false data. But you can install this in your non-prod instances or locally have your devs set it up and basically test out your marketing definitions. And this will kind of let you see simulations of your marketing definitions getting executed on your website. That's really valuable way to kind of stress test your site and stress test your marketing definitions before you go live.
Yeah, so don't even just build those definitions, test them. So, and for those in the theater, your room is about to get brighter. So if you want to take a look around.
Nice.
So I have in front of you right now really the basic building blocks. These are the marketing taxonomy is a starting place along with goals and campaigns. Working with customers, marketing taxonomies are not exactly thrilling, but it's a necessary piece. It is, you had me at metadata, it is tagging. So you want to be able to properly tag your goals, tag your campaigns, etc. So definitely work with your clients to build out, obviously the channels, offline and online channels come built in, but look to build out your goals and campaign and asset facets around things like product, brand, funnel position, service, time of year for those campaign groups, etc. And then you're going to basically start to create your goals and your campaigns, and you're going to create some organization around that, and ultimately get into outcomes. That organization piece I talked about, I'm actually going to go back here. You'll see on the right-hand side under goals and under campaigns that just keep this in mind for later, where it says up to 11. That was our fictional guitar site. Nod to Spinal Tap for those who are fans. And you'll see I have my page goals subdivided by 0, 10, 25, 50, and 100 point goals. Good structure, good organization, a good way to work. Same thing with campaigns. I have it by channel, and I could have it by business unit, you name it. This is completely something a marketer can build out, and the structure can be their own and really reflect their business as well. Way over on the left-hand side, you'll see outcome group. While I don't have that open, that is something that you should consider. And again, this will be something, I'm just going to say this now for a nod to later. It'll come up, but build out an outcome group specific to your organization. Another building block would be profiles. When you're building goals, like I was saying in the last slide, don't build out 100 goals and put them everywhere, because if everything's a goal, then nothing's a goal. So we usually say start with a few simple goals, maybe 10, 12 goals per site or per marketing objective. We get those in place, and that's great. We'll put those out there. Don't slather your site in goals. Profiles, what you're seeing here, do so. Put them everywhere. Build out profiles that, in this case, we basically did a product category. This is where you could use personas, you could use buyer journey phase, you can use anything like that, and you can build out these profiles and be able to put them all over the site. Basically, you're going to start to assign it to content. You're going to notice content gaps, and there's ways to assign multiple profiles to a page. Just basically be aware that you can build out multiple sets of these, and I'm not going to get into the explicit details of this because there's some training that I can point you to if you want to review that. But a couple points. One, on the right-hand side, you'll see decay rate. That's basically underneath the product category. That will allow a user to come to your site, establish a pattern, leave, end that session, and then when they come back, it will have a decay applied to it. So if I have, for simple math, if I have 100 points, 100% on one pattern, if I have a decay rate of 50%, it'll drop it down to 50%. If I have 100% and I have a decay rate of 10 in this field, they'll retain 90% of that pattern. It allows users to come back and not be pigeonholed into a certain profile. And then also that profile cards that says multiple with percentages, set that so your content authors can apply multiple patterns to a page if they want to. If you don't want them to be able to do that and you just leave it as single, then they'll only be able to choose one. But that's just a level of control that's nice to have. I do have details on this on my channel. That's at the last bullet here. But about this slide, you're going to see this. This is the end of section 1. We're going to move on from the basics, but this is the opportunity to do a screenshot if you want to. We're not going to necessarily review each of these. It's basically like this is the what you heard portion, and in some cases we're going to have some links available like this one. And again, this is just simply a shameless plug to my YouTube channel because I have gone through all of those marketing definitions and all of those prerequisites in detail. It's certainly been out there for a few years now, but it hasn't really changed. There's all the basics, all the fundamental principles are still in play. All right, somewhat a little still in the basics, but still important because I don't feel like this one is heard too often, and I feel like a lot of times customers just don't necessarily want to take the time to have this set up. But I also see that it's just not, a lot of times there's even developers and such that are still not fully comfortable with setting these up. And that's understandable given some of the ambiguity in this, in the roles and such. But too often I'm working with customers that everyone is an admin and there are no workflows in place and they wonder why they can't content test. So let's talk about that. So you have this user, some guy named Jeremy Davis, that you definitely don't want as an admin. You want to keep him as a content author. So on the right-hand side, you'll see, the not so intuitive list of roles that help keep Jeremy as a non-admin. And again, for all of us that are familiar with this, I always find this funny that all you have to do is hit that one checkbox on the left, that administrator, and everything else just doesn't matter. You're an admin. So let's not do that. Let's set up proper roles. But marketers and admins should not be considering doing this.
Yeah, so if you want to set up roles in your Sitecore solution, I highly recommend that you reach out to either your Sitecore partner that you're working with on your solution, or work with your Sitecore developers to get these set up properly, because even though the names look intuitive, I promise you they're not. Like the Sitecore author role, that role by itself is not going to be enough to give a Sitecore content author the permissions they need to do their job in Sitecore. So we'll have a link later that'll kind of go over what these roles do. But again, I stress that this is something that really your Sitecore solution partner, your Sitecore developers need to be configuring for you.
And so what does that do? You know, it's control over applications. On the right-hand side, it's the admin panel that we're all probably very familiar with. On the left-hand side would be more of a content author. They're not needing to get into any of the analytics. They're only needing to basically look at their optimization tab for testing and their content and experience editor, media library, etc. This is all they need, and it helps. Honestly, this keeps people that shouldn't be in admin areas out, but it also allows those people to feel empowered and safe, that they're not going to trip over themselves and create problems. It also creates, you know, now we're starting to get into the workflow piece, but basically it creates the ability to do locking and editing for the pages, which also turns on basically version control, and then basically allows one user to be working on a page at a time. So this is that sample workflow. The only reason I point this out, you know, I know most of the people on this call are pretty well aware of the workflows, but for anyone that's not, if you are a marketer or you want to be able to talk to your devs and say, hey, there is a sample workflow, appropriately named sample workflow, that does include all of the test launch tools that basically allow you to build out that proper workflow and take a look at it at bare minimum.
Yeah, and we've included a screenshot of the workflow fields that you can see in Sitecore. So you can see this on all your items. Again, I want to stress that these fields are really there for reference, and we kind of call them out to make you familiar with them. But if you think that these fields need to change, please, as a marketer, don't just change these. Work with your Sitecore solution partner or your Sitecore developers and have them help you, because you can get your items and your content into wonky states by changing this stuff.
We don't want wonky states.
Don't want wonky states.
So if you are ever experimenting with testing, you can certainly go to the optimization app and look at a page test and be able to see this dialogue and preview and set up some metrics around the test. If you don't have workflow in place like the one we just showed on the page template, your content authors will not be able to run a test on a component level. And that's a really important piece, because that allows us to do the A/B, ABC, multivariate testing on a page. But if I don't have that in play, this approve with test dialog is not available. And then the dialog, the screen you see below that with the preview. And again, there's several metrics you can set, expected changes. You can select audience size. You can select which goal you want it to be related to, so it can give results based off of engagement value score or trailing in value per visit. A lot of this is, you know, a lot of that testing power not available until you have that properly set up. So, you know, definitely workflow are key. One quick tip for if you're working with marketers or you're a marketer yourself, start out, you know, like we talked about the experience generator before, to, you know, never use it on prod. Here's something you can do when you, and I recommend it on your live prod, is to start out with checking that your testing is working by running an A test as opposed to an A/B test. Run an A/A test. So same content in both versions, your user will not see, no matter what, they're only going to see the content you want them to see. But the metrics will change, the data will change on who's exposed to each test. So it's a great way to try out your test on a very high traffic page. I recommend you picking like on your highest traffic page, your home page or a key landing page, run an AA test and see if it works. If it works, move to an AB. If it works from there, move to an ABC, or start doing multiple components and become multivariate. But it's a great way to be able to kind of expose the metrics and make sure that it's working. So again, here's the summary of this. But Corey, I'll let you speak to that.
Yeah, and we've got a couple of links down here. So the first one is SXA security setup. So if you're fortunate enough to be working on an SXA solution, SXA has a really great wizard that makes setting up security roles for your tenants and sites super easy. That link will take you to the SXA documentation on how to get that set up. But if you're not working on an SXA solution, the second link, non-SXA security setup, that will actually take you to the Sitecore documentation that goes over what permissions all of those roles that we were talking about earlier have, and more details about Sitecore security. So check those out.
Yep. All right, on to one of my favorites, and getting a little, leaving the basics behind a little bit. So there has been a big miss that I run into as the person that goes and starts explaining the marketing. So I've gone to and worked with a customer, and it's basically like, get them to set up their taxonomy, get them to set up their goals and their profiles, and they got everything mapped out on an Excel spreadsheet, for example. Well, the first thing I have to tell them is we're going to put all of those goals that you made into 3 columns. Stuff you can, as a marketer, do yourself, which is basically page-based goals, or putting a link on a form button. Then there's more complex goals and all that stuff. So you know, that's just getting goals in place. But when we're building those goals, there's a lot of organization, and we're going to come to even some more depth on this. But when I look at a lot of the pieces that I have available when we're building these goals, you'll remember that organization I had in the beginning, and that structure that's going to come in play. It's you know, this organization that I have here on the left, basically the 0, 10, 25, 50, 100 point goals. That's all wonderful. And imagine if I have a multi-site instance of Sitecore, and I have different, there's up to 11. That's one of the sites. If I have, another site up to 12, you have all sorts of different sites available. You're going to build out a lot of goals, and same thing with campaigns. Over time, you're going to build them out. But when you apply these goals to pages, and you go in to apply these goals at a page level, that organization goes away, and it's been a long time frustration with customers. So
yeah, so when Rick and I were putting this presentation together, I mean, again, this is like the first thing that he came to me. He's like, how do we fix this? And you can see on the left side what the goal selector looks like on a page out of the box. And again, going back to what Rick was talking about with his organization, it's completely lost. It's just a flat checkbox list. As a developer, I don't really get in and see this very much, but when he showed it to me, I was like, yeah, that I can see how that's painful. You lose a lot of context around your goals, but fortunately, Sitecore has a solution out of the box, and that's the tree list field. So you can see on the right, we actually went and just totally rebuilt this goal selector for pages. So this uses the tree list field, and it works just the same as the selector on the left side, except now you've got that context and you've got that organization for all your goals. And I gotta say, I mean, after building this out and working in this solution that Rick and I set up, going to my day job and using and like looking at this old goal selector, it's like, wow, this needs to be out of the box. This needs to be a default Sitecore thing, because it's the way that it should work.
Yeah.
But we didn't just stop there. We also took it a step further and rebuilt the page attributes dialog. So page attributes, it's just like the goal selector for a page, except it lets you select campaigns, events, failure actions, and settings. And we applied the same thing. So it's every single one of those tabs has tree lists and lets you get that folder structure and the context and organization, et cetera, for all those things. And like on a fresh Sitecore instance, you see the value immediately on the events tab, because I think Sitecore has some like 50 or 60 page events out of the box, and kind of they get lost in that long checkbox field. So
yeah, it's way more scalable. And again, if you're looking to run multiple sites, I think, Corey, using something that already exists in Sitecore, for your content editor user, it's certainly a familiar tool. So
yeah, so if this is something that you're interested in, your solution having, we've got the link here, improved tracking controls at the bottom. That's going to take you to my GitHub, where I've got all the code. So marketers, if this is something that you want in your solution, just give your developers this link, or developers go there and you can get inspired and use that code to to implement it in your solution.
All right, next item, we're going to just take a quick trip through the Path Analyzer. This has been around a little bit, and it is a favorite tool that marketers certainly like to see with working with analytics, not just as a shiny object when they're demoing or seeing Sitecore for the first time, but actually when they're digging into analytics, there's a lot of possibility. But I just wanted to highlight a couple pieces that I find very useful. And again, the message here is launch with these, and again, or upgrade, or at least if you're already running, add these improvements. Very easy to do, and everything I'm going to be showing you here is largely a marketer setup. First of all, in your marketing control panel, on if you've ever scrolled down that tree, you may have seen the Path Analyzer there. You can open this up and you can start to build out your own custom maps, so you can start to look at the data the way you'd like. You'll see that I have highlighted here a Fender top shelf. It's basically a Fender like top level guitar goal, and I have called them high value target pages, and you'll see that I selected on the right hand side. A little note to pay attention that it's grayed out, but underneath options you'll see reverse. I basically made a reverse goal map, and there's reverse and obviously non-reverse. This is the reverse one, so all roads lead to the goal. So that center white dot will be the actual goal, and it's a great way to look at all the, like I say, all the traffic leading to that specific goal. In the other world, I have another guitar brand called Nags, and this is a non-reverse goal. So just to give you an idea, in the center, per the normal Path Analyzer setup, is the internet and the paths that lead away from it, and basically where that goal lives if there's enough significant traffic. So that's basically a look at where you're seeing the goals along the way. So it just depends on how you may want to view it. Personally, I love the reverse view specific to goals, but it's a powerful way to do it. Certainly, I'm not going to dwell too long on this. The same way as we do goals, we can do campaigns and define the target campaign, and that will become available for you to look at on your maps. You do have to deploy these, and Path Analyzer will take a little time to run, but just be aware that then you can start to view that campaign. So as soon as the user hits that campaign, it'll show all traffic for that session. And then lastly, set up some experience maps, or at least one experience map. This is really a way to show more on the Path Analyzer than just pages. It's a way to say, let's show what channel they came from. Let's include campaigns. Let's include goals with value, or only goals with values. Let's include outcomes. So now there will be dots for pages potentially if you have some of that selected, but also goals along the way. So you can really drill down into that user experience. So very granular and very filterable. You can add additional scope. You can probably see that here on the campaign when I was showing, where you can add different rules around personas or whatever, but you can add some depth in all cases. Couple quick tips when you start building out a bunch of these goal maps. You can star them in the Path Analyzer, and they'll pop up to the favorites folder. That's handy if you're for the individual user to be able to have those at the top, so you don't have to constantly drill down into the default and the global and the page or the goal maps, etc. Just put them up in your favorites. They'll be there. And then another one is funnels. Again, in your marketing control panel, you probably see this little funnels on the upper left. You'll see that showing up. You can create your own user journey. Basically, you edit that sequence by clicking on the edit button and add in pages, but you can do more than just pages. You could say they went to the effects page, they triggered a Black Arts Toneworks Destroyer goal, they went to the bass guitar page. Again, all fictional, it doesn't matter for the demo purposes, but you can make a sequence of certain items that might be very standard that a lot of users do. And then back in the Path Analyzer, when you go in on the right hand side of the Path Analyzer itself, you will see what I actually am showing here on the left hand side of the slide, that it'll have the little flyout where you can look at the individual funnels. You click that star that I have highlighted, and then basically if you look at the bottom right here at the dashboard, it'll show up, so you can see that my starred effects bass guitars is now showing up on my dashboard. So as from an executive's dashboard standpoint, I can have that available there. So star that funnel, and basically, again, powerful tool. all stuff a marketer can do. The only thing is if some of those reports aren't showing, they might need to reach out to developers for that.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the contact card and some things that you can do to kind of spice that up. So this is what the experience profile looks like in Sitecore. It's a little bit soul sucking out of the box. There's just not much to it. It's just a lot of gray, a little bit of red. And I think one thing that I want to draw your attention to is the avatar on this. So it's just a boring gray silhouette, right? If in your solution, your developers haven't set up contacts so that when they're identified, an avatar is set for them or a profile picture, you're going to see this for every single identified contact in the experience profile. But it doesn't have to be that way. There's actually a really nice service on the web called Gravatar, and it's a simple service. If you've got a WordPress account, you're already signed up for Gravatar. But basically, it just lets you set an avatar for your email address, and any service on the web can then use it. So if you've ever signed up for a service online and your picture's already there, there's a good chance they pulled that picture from Gravatar and you set it up when setting up a WordPress account. So we can actually leverage that in the experience profile to make it a little bit spicier and nice. So for example, with Bruce Daviscoff, we've got it set up so that when he was identified in Sitecore, we pulled in this picture of him. And yeah, it looks a lot better just with that avatar, right? And that's really nice for your users and your visitors on your site who have Gravatars set already, but there's a pretty good chance that a lot of the people that visit your site are not going to have a Gravatar set. Maybe they're coming to your site with a business account that they've just not signed up for WordPress or Gravatar with. And that's where Gravatar really shows its strengths, because Gravatar has a few different options that you can use to get a default image, a unique default image for users that don't have a Gravatar set. And this is one of them that you can see here. It's called RoboHash. And again, what it does is it generates a unique cartoon robot for every single email address that comes into the system. So Bruce's robot that you see here, this is unique to his email address, and no one else is going to have the same pink cylindrical robot. Another email address will have a completely different one. It could be orange and have totally different shapes, but it's kind of cool. And it's just a neat way to kind of take all of those contacts that you have in Sitecore that don't have avatars, and again, just kind of spice it up a little bit. But if RoboHash isn't really your thing and you think that's silly and you want to get even sillier, there's another one called Monster ID that's even higher quality. It looks like this.
And looks like Bruce.
Yeah, that looks a little bit more like Bruce, to be quite honest. But that's another one of the options that you can use with Gravatar to get a default image for people that don't have an account set up. And they've got several other ones that you can use as well. But I personally think RoboHash is the best one. But yeah, that's just one small thing that you can do to kind of spice up the experience profile and make it more fun. Another thing, depending on how you implement this, your devs implement this, there are a couple of different ways to do it. If you set this on your contacts avatar profile in Sitecore, if you're integrating with other systems like a CRM, you could actually pull these images into that CRM system and have them there, and maybe they could provide some value for you. But yeah, that's one small thing that you could do. The next thing I'd like to direct your attention to is that red bar up at the top of the experience profile. So yeah, out of the box, when a contact is identified, all they're going to have on the timeline is just this one straight red bar that says unknown contact. And if you're working on a Sitecore 9 instance, that's kind of a confusing title to be in the timeline, because from Sitecore 9 on, anonymous contacts do not show up in the experience profile. For a contact to show up in the experience profile, they have to be identified. So why does the timeline show them as unknown contact if they are a known contact in the system? It's a little bit confusing, right? Well, there's some customizations you can do to actually rename that, what Sitecore calls era. You can rename that era. It's the anonymous era is actually what Sitecore calls it. You can rename that to be something that makes a bit more sense for your business. And you can actually use outcomes in Sitecore, which Rick talked about earlier, to put more era changing events in this timeline, and this is what that might look like. So here we've got on the bottom kind of an e-commerce themed example. And what we've done is we've actually gone and renamed that anonymous era so that it's not unknown contact anymore, because that doesn't really make sense necessarily for an e-commerce site, and renamed it to window shopper. And window shopper might just be a title that you give to someone who comes to your site and they're logged in, but they've never actually bought anything from you. And then you can use outcomes to trigger different era changes in the timeline to really signify a change in your customers' value to your business and their relationship with your business. So you can see here that we've got an outcome that triggered a new customer timeline era change. And then we, again, kind of going back to our guitar theme, we made like a membership, a rewards program with different titles. So like you could have them become a regular rocker, that could be an outcome, and a shredder and a rock star to kind of represent how much money they've been spending, right? So after spending, $500, maybe they're a regular rocker, 1,000, they're a shredder, etc. And again, this just adds more context to the experience profile and lets you understand your customers' relationships with your business a lot better. So out of the box, the way that those timeline era changes happen with outcomes is your outcomes have to be tagged with this lead management funnel group that we've got shown here. So if you create outcomes in Sitecore with any other group out of the box, they will not trigger those changes. You can trigger those outcomes on a contact, but again, if they're not tagged with this lead management funnel group, you're not going to see that change, that darkening red bar up in the timeline like we showed before. But the nice thing is this is Sitecore, so it's pretty easy to extend. And we're going to have a link to some code later on, but you can actually add a checkbox to the outcomes that would look like this in the experience profile options. And you can make it so that you could tag your outcomes with any group. So again, kind of going back to our example, the guitar shop, you could have a group called guitar shop on your outcomes and tag them that way. And then just check this show as era checkbox, and this will actually trigger those timeline era changes up in the timeline on the experience profile. So, lead management funnel, that might not make sense in your outcome taxonomy, for example. So this could be nice for you to have if you've got a lot of outcomes. Gives you a little bit more flexibility in organizing them. Before we move on, there is one thing that I do want to draw your attention to, and again, it's the group. You have to set a group on all of your outcomes. If you don't, and you use that outcome on a contact, it'll make the timeline just completely disappear from the experience profile. So make sure that you've got that group set. And if you ever come across a contact in Sitecore where that timeline isn't showing up, there's a good chance that they probably triggered an outcome and didn't set a group on it. So just keep that in mind. Always set a group on your outcomes.
That's a few days of pulling hair out that we can save you.
Yep, we lost the hair for you. So, so yeah, grab a screenshot of this. If you're interested in how to implement that checkbox to kind of reorganize your outcomes and get away from that lead management funnel group, check out the URL custom eras and X profile at the bottom. That's again going to take you to my GitHub. So marketers, you probably want to hand this off to your developers, and this will show them how they could implement that checkbox if that's something you're interested in. And then the second link, add Gravatar to X profile. That's again going to go to my GitHub. So marketers, give this to your developers, and this will show them a couple of different ways that they could get the Gravatar implemented in the experience profile for you.
Cool. And then automation, again, this is a out-of-the-box tool that's been around for a little bit. It's definitely improved recently. Now we have a set of default, basically, marketing automation workflows. This is very nice for that Sitecore has added this in, including detailed descriptions. If for no other reason, it's a nice way to learn off of some basic automation flows. It used to be where you just basically had to build from scratch, but now there's a good set of templates really to work from and to build from. This is one of them, what that looks like, the basic cart abandonment. Again, you may modify this completely, but it's just a nice starting place to be able to dig in for your marketers. So that's, I mean, just a nice 9.3 update, but that is available now to speed your process. You know, we talked about, you know, working with outcomes, and we talked about working with goals. One thing I wanted to show is, you know, you can start simple. You don't have to get as complicated as some of those flows, and you don't even need to be working with email. You don't have to work with EXM or wire in an external, you know, email provider. But there are ways to work with goals and states and outcomes and such to be able to drive some personalization. So here I basically selected that Fender top shelf goal as a starting place, and I'm watching to see if they move to a certain page. If they do, then, you know, if they view a certain page within a certain amount of time, increase their engagement value. If they, you know, then move to another page, increase their engagement value. Ultimately, I can end up coming out the other end with their engagement value, you know, pumped up, and maybe their profile, their persona or their pattern changed a little bit based off of just activity that they've done. So I can just make a little more complex information around that. The other thing I really thought was fascinating and cool was the ability to focus on a state. So, you know, again, if I add in a little delay time and basically hold somebody into a state for a day or so, or whatever that looks like, just any of these states along the way, I can hold somebody there, or just run a listener to wait for them. And then in the personalization rules, you can just start typing marketing automation into your rule panel, and you'll see that there's actually a little set of marketing rules. And I love this one, that's where the contact is currently enrolled and waiting in a specific activity for the specific automation campaign. So that campaign that I just had above, the effects deals from marketing automation, I had that listener state of 1 day delay. So now I can basically say, you know, if somebody is in that state, show them a specific piece of content. So it's just kind of a fascinating way to almost preemptively show somebody content. So say they've just say they're in the middle of a user journey. They don't know they're in the middle of a user journey, but they've gone through some stuff, but they come back to a certain page and I've personalized. Basically, I know that they're going to be moving on to some next step, but maybe I can preemptively help move that along. So it's just kind of a fun, tricky little way to move them through. Again, everything I showed here, this is just all something a marketer can do. The one area that they might need help is if they want to add in some custom drag and drop tools like the states, or I know Mike, I think you did some cool stuff around this as well, but there's a lot of potential here that you can do with some custom fields. If maybe I'm lying, then Mike, maybe I just think about you all the time.
No, I'm lying. Go ahead.
Okay. Here's another one that has existed for a while, but it's seldom. I think it's a little underutilized. If you're creating complex personalization rules in your little rule stack for a component, for example, those can get cumbersome if repetitive, or they could also get tricky if they're complex. You also may want to limit some controls and access to them. So again, in that marketing control panel, there's this little personalization item, and if you open it up, there's the predefined rules, and you can build out your site and build out your own set of rules. And this is again a demo, so it's very simplified, but I created this Fender focused rule. So basically where somebody triggers a top shelf guitar, I'm going to create that as a rule. That's a very simple rule. I could have this be very complex with a lot of ands and ors and wheres and where nots. Or I could just only want to provide this rule to certain groups of people in my content author and my marketing team, so I can control governance over this folder, for example. But then where this comes into play is when you're setting up personalization, the very top rule is predefined rules, and there's only one where predefined rule is true. And it's pretty slick where you basically can just add that in and then select that specific one. There is a little trick that we got to call out, and that is with the folder structure that we have here.
Right. So out of the box, Sitecore doesn't let you organize your predefined rules into folders. So marketers, if that's something that you're interested in, you'll need to work with your devs. They just need to set up some insert options, but it's pretty easy. It's like a little 2-minute change. But once you do that, like Rick was saying, that gives you the flexibility of course, organizing your rules, but also applying governance to them. So you could set permissions on the folders and have some predefined rules restricted to certain sites or authors, etc.
Yeah, do we want to talk about that thing that says rules? Do you want to do that here?
Yeah, actually we would, because we lost a bit of sleep over that so that you wouldn't have to. If you go into this personalization part of the marketing control panel, you'll notice that little rules folder down at the bottom. It does nothing. It's got like, I think 1 or 2 sample rules in it that were used for an older version of Sitecore, but it's just sticking around. It's a vestigial folder now, so don't lose sleep over it. It doesn't do anything, just ignore it and leave it there.
Yes. So just to see this through, again, what I did was change that where the rule is true to now where fender focused. So I know the grammar is not exactly perfect, but where fender focused is now the preset. And then I just, on the right-hand side, when I'm personalizing the component, I just change my content where it says fender CS69. So it'll show that guitar instead when it hits that rule. So again, think about this from even just a governance standpoint. I could have a set of predefined rules in subsets of folders in that up to 11 folder and have governance control over who can access that. Instead of letting them define their own rules, they could just have access to the predefined rules. So both control and, think of them as macros or ways to basically set up some simplicity for repetitive tasks. So again, here's how you can accomplish that. Most of it is built in the marketing control panel by the marketer, but you do need a little help around the insert options. And last one, the goal button. This is a way to advance that I alluded to this earlier, but basically, when I was talking about a spreadsheet with 3 columns, I have you can trigger this on a certain amount of goals on a page, or basically by Sitecore forms. Second column, developer needs to add a little code to the event, or third column, basically they end up with a lot in there that's like the more complex, more backlog based. I got to wire up this system, that system, et cetera, to make that goal trigger. But I wanted to be able to work with marketers and not just tell them that they can only trigger page goals. So what we decided to do was work with what Sitecore has already provided in Sitecore forms. This certainly becomes a little easier with SXA, but not impossible with a non-SXA version. And that is basically a button-only form. So we could make a bunch of these. One thing I'll point out under the settings tab, especially for something like this, if you're going to end up making a bunch of buttons, give them a thumbnail. It doesn't have to be a picture of a guitar. You could actually have somebody make a bunch of icons for you, or come up with some sort of Photoshop template to make all the buttons you want. But if you're going to start making a bunch of buttons, certainly set up your icon, because we're going to start using these more than just as like a form submit button, and we'll show you that in a second. So first of all, with any form, you're going to have a submit button. And so let's just say this is a button only form. So we still have all the form controls, including styling, which we have here.
Yeah, and marketers, if you're trying to make these form buttons, reach out to your developers about the CSS classes. That's going to be important to make sure that your buttons actually look correct on your site. You can see like this button here, for example, to make it work on our custom guitar shop, it required quite a lengthy CSS class. That's probably not something you want to remember. So again, just reach out to your devs about that.
A test. Yeah, and then from there, it's really just using the submit action on this button to trigger a goal and redirect to a page. So think about that. I'm now triggering a goal, but it's just a link to another page. I mean, obviously I can have this do more than that. I can trigger an outcome that will then drive the arrows. I can add all that functionality, and certainly, be able to extend on that as well. In fact, we ran into that too. So.
Yeah, so this is
I was going to call out that the order here is important, so make sure you trigger goals first.
Yep. Yes. If you don't trigger the goal and you redirect, it doesn't trigger the goal. Absolutely.
Yep, that's a good call out. But one of the things that Rick and I ran into when we were doing this is that there's actually no way to redirect to a media item that doesn't work as you would think. So just an idea for an easy submit action that your developers could implement would maybe be download a media item to, when you click a button, it downloads a PDF, for example. So
yep.
I think Mike's written some nice lengthy blog posts about how to implement custom submit actions, correct?
As a side effect of something that wasn't the topic.
Side effects are the best way.
So yes. So yes, but no.
Yes, but no.
Yeah, but I mean, this is a very simple, just, navigation, honestly. So, I mean, that's what we have here. And yes, Mike's, you're absolutely right. Obviously, the goal needs to be first. If you redirect to the page, that next action will never happen. Here's the trick around this, and it really is just simply part of a discovery or in an architecting the site. Like I said, with SXA, it would be a variant. Non-SXA, I mean, I guess you could call it a variant, but there would just be another version. So what you're seeing here are 4 different promo cards. In this case, non-SXA, this one we called form card, but if it's SXA, it would be a promo card with a form card variant. And it's simply a placeholder for the MVC form item. So, and then you'd basically set your data source to that button, and now you suddenly have this, which, save and publish. It looks identical to the user. They don't know they're using a form button. It's just a button that will redirect to the page. We tested this, and there's no lag. It just, works just as quick, and you'll see you'll move from one page to another, and it's a way for the marketer to not have to go back to the dev and say, hey, can you put a goal on this event, this click event. So it's just a little quick way to add that a little bit more of a bucket of tools to the marketer at launch. So that's we did this. I was very happy with this. This was me pretty much at that point. So I can't wait to start using this with a customer, but very exciting. So very, again, really, we're utilizing what Sitecore has and the tools that already exist. You're, building out a component or a variant, and we're using Sitecore forms. So it's not really anything that's magic. It's just combining the two and thinking about it ahead of time. So that was, definitely, along with the goal selector tool, 2 of my favorites, and I guess they're all goal based, but whatever. That's our presentation. So thank you very much. I see Mike virtually clapping, so thank you.
That's amazing. Thank you, guys. I have a question. So do you see how you're using a button to trigger goal in Sitecore Forms without going to a developer? Is there any way to identify a contact after submitting a form without building a submit action, like a custom submit action?
Yeah, I don't think that submit action exists out of the box.
Right.
It doesn't.
No, but we've had to develop a identify contact for this list that you see on the left. If I'm understanding that right.
Yeah. So there's no way to identify the contact in the experience profile without developing a custom submit action.
Right.
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and obviously on a button only form, you're not going to get a ton of information other than they clicked a goal, but.
Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, the scenario is like submitting a form, with name and email, but yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I have a question. This is Dave. When you showed how you were setting the CSS classes there, I've been dealing a lot with rendering parameters this week, and I've made those into a dropdown. Do you have the ability to make that into a dropdown and make it easier for them?
Mike is the resident Sitecore Forms expert. Mike, is this dialogue easy to extend? I'm guessing no, because you speak, but
the answer is no, because it is speak.
Yeah.
That's the answer. It's doable, but it's I guess I'll be truthful. It's painful. You can totally do it if you have lots of time.
Yeah. Good question. That would be nice. Any other questions?
So I think the question that everybody is thinking about now is all these great additions that you guys did, is it available somewhere or?
So the ones, the slides that we had, and I mean, obviously you can go back through YouTube or something that had the links, that's where they are. Most of the elements are, or a lot of the elements are just, there's no code needed or anything like that. It's just a marketer's task.
Right.
Again, this was originally kind of a marketing focused element, but working together with Corey, we wanted to extend a little bit. And anywhere where there's like a code repository or samples, that's what those links are for.
Yeah, so for the goal selector and the campaign selector, the page attributes, those are up on GitHub. We had the links for those. For the Gravatar stuff, that's up on GitHub. And then for extending the timeline and the experience profile, that's up on GitHub too.
Amazing, thank you guys.
I might even, yeah, you're welcome. I might suggest that even whoever is managing the YouTube then pull those links into the comments. So keep that handy.
Cool.
Looks good in the theater.
Well, it is. It is very nice in here. Although I'm disembodied. I don't even know if anybody can see my hands in the theater part, but I think I'm disembodied.
I've got you. You've had the hat on too. It comes and goes. I have a question though. Can you guys see my personal monitor? Is that why you were asking me to move, Ben?
No.
I was asking you to move because you were sitting in front of the camera.
Well, I sure wish you guys could see what I see, because what I've done, it took the help of my son to pull it up, but I've got the whole screen here. So I'm in this giant movie theater where it's that, but I also have the ability to pull up my own personal screen.
Yeah.
So just to my left, I've got all of you on video with your Zoom meeting. So I'm actually got the full experience of the full.
That's so cool.
Yeah, you get it all. It's really great. You don't really lose anything. I got got the YouTube video going over here, and I got the Zoom thing, and yeah, it's really great.
So is Mike Reynolds there? Is Mike Reynolds there the whole time on your screen?
In the Zoom.
Yeah, I basically have a full.
Can you throw some tomatoes at him for me?
It's amazing.
So here, let me switch the stream cam so it's first person, so you'll see kind of what I've been seeing the whole time. I do have one of my screens up right over here where I've been dealing with my audio inputs, which are more complicated than they have to be. Got the stream stuff over there, and I can adjust this screen around. I actually have two screens. The other one is projected over there, so I don't need to bring that up again. But I can make this.
Oh, you're on the YouTube.
Yeah, this is on YouTube. Sorry.
Nice.
So
No problem.
Much bigger. Where's my others?
Yeah.
Did you lose a screen?
I lost one.
Too many screens.
That's the only thing. I end up with too many.
There's a lot you can do here. It's generally pretty cool, but moving these screens around can get a little bit tricky sometimes.
For real. But guys, I mean,
Wait a minute. I can see your screen. Go back up, Ben. Pull that screen up.
Yo, I'm the host.
But I mean, in front of you in the theater.
Oh, this thing?
Yeah. No.
I mean, creepy.
You can see the host screens. I noticed that in the waiting room.
Okay. Because that's I feel like there was a checkbox too. So yeah, it's great. Like I have the whole screen, but then I've got Rick full screen right here, just in your little thing.
Undo.
Yeah, but Rick and Corey, I mean, I think that this is great. I'm gonna be really happy to review some of the video because I think we just don't get enough of this really good how to make it happen marketing content. Mm-hmm. And so kudos for you for putting that together. And Thanks, I think Dennis. That we need to have more of this in the Sitecore user groups, and hopefully we'll invite our marketers when we do it next time, or more marketers, or when we do it next time.
Keep trying.
Yeah. You want to get them to join. Marketers, join the Sitecore community. Come on. CMOs, welcome.
Absolutely.
Welcome. Yeah.
Talk marketing, please.
Yeah, good stuff, guys. I really, really appreciate that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Especially now that I've joined the strategy people. I mean, to be over on the other side now. So we appreciate this very much.
I thought it was a good presentation, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Ben and I are probably going to try to, and Dave, and now we got a few more people, we're probably going to try to work out some of the technicalities of this thing. I'm going to try to reorient my space so that I can be more than a disembodied helmet on YouTube.
There was actually one point where you were horizontal somehow.
He was way up there.
Ben, I was flying, actually. My tracking is not working, so I actually was in the sky at some point up here. It was really weird. I'm like, whoa, what happened?
I saw you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Good stuff, man. Mr. Lipson, what's on the agenda, sir? Are we having an early wrap? Are we chilling?
We can do either. There's no other speakers. I honestly am somewhat surprised we managed to get through this entire thing without technical difficulties, except for you, of course. But so there wasn't any crashes. It was actually really great. But we don't have another speaker. If you guys want to stick around, I can bring us into a different room, and I don't know. We can still kind of have an after chat still.
Absolutely, that'd be fun. I'm going to leave it recording on the cloud. I'm going to try to reboot my computer, and I will see you in the Zoom meeting. Hopefully it doesn't kick everybody else out. And, this is a nice room. Oh, yeah, this is the fireplace. Do I have a body here? No, still no body. Okay,
I'm going to had a body for parts of it. It was weird.
It's really. I'm going to reboot my machine. I'm going to see if video people. I will probably stop the recording now, and we'll thank our presenters. I'll stop the recording, and I will restart my machine, and I will try to join you guys. Oh, I see myself again. So this is really meta. Here I am in my thing, looking at myself on the thing. Okay, it's really strange. I'm going to reboot, and I'll be back, but you in recording land won't be. So thanks for joining us. Yeah.
And thank you to our speakers, Rick, Corey. Welcome to VR. You were the first people to do a VR Sitecore user group.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
There's another marketer.
Thank you.
All right.
There's another marketer. Yeah. Hey, marketer. Ben, you should try to set this up for Sitecore lunch.
Oh, that would be cool. That would be really cool.
Oh, it's getting a little
I don't know.
crazy.
There's something about just having Chris on that big screen there for a second.
Like 3 radios on it once.
Okay, be right back. Hopefully it doesn't end it for you.
Well, yeah, Jim, you've got to mute like YouTube or mute.
I am going to make.
Shut it off.
I'm going to make Ben, or I'm going to make. You going to stick around for a second, Nabil?
Yeah, I am. I'm here.
Okay, I'm going to make you.
Well, there goes Dennis.
I'm gonna make you. Uh-oh.
He made me something, but I don't know where it is, and then he left. Yeah, but we're still here.
Oh God, seeing me on that big screen.
I think he just didn't want the room to end when he rebooted, so.
Yeah, he made me a host, so that saves the day.
Yeah, we can totally do this for the Sitecore lunch tomorrow, probably, if there's going to be enough interest.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
I wonder if I can stream this directly to Zoom, like if I were to share my screen.
So if you want to do it tomorrow, I'm probably going to have my Oculus Go from the office. I didn't have it today.
Oh,
so
great.
I think I'm sharing my screen, so you probably can see this in real time.
It's like a mirror. 2 mirrors up against each other.
I'm going to take off. It was really nice seeing everybody. I've been on Zoom for 2 days straight for like 9 to 5, so I'm kind of zoomed out. So.
Hi,
I see what you did there.
I see what you did there, Chris. Are you going to go have a chocolate milk?
Yeah, I probably will. Yeah.
All right.
I have a Zoom fatigue.
All right. See you, Chris.
See you, Chris.
See you later,
Chris. Thank you, man.
Wow, it's an infinite universe.
It's really cool.
Well, yeah, because that's just what's on that screen. That's trippy.
Whoa.
Tilt my head around a bit.
Yeah, so it's twisting at a faster rate as it goes down the video.
Yep. I wonder if I can. I can't share my screen and see you guys. Oh, I guess I can do that. Can I put this on the full screen?
That was wicked weird, dude.
I can't read that from here. Hold on.
All right, everybody. I'm outie.
Yeah, I'm gonna jet as well, guys.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
All right, we'll see you later.
Take care.
Have a good one.
Presenters.
See you on the interweb.
Yeah.
Peace, guys.
Thanks.
Oh, that's trippy.
I'm just enjoying watching this.
Yeah.
I'm getting motion.
Oh, what the hell are you doing, man?
Imagine with like the goggles on. It's got to be.
It's actually not disorienting
somehow.
It's surprisingly not disorienting. I just need to minimize, or I just need to put something else on the screen.
You gonna edit your YouTube when you're done?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be enough.
No, I'm gonna actually go ahead and stop the YouTube video. But since I'm sharing this on Zoom, you can at least continue seeing.